Namaste everyone. We're doing a arm balancing tutorial today. So we'll go through some variations and we'll get used to holding ourselves up on our arms. And metaphysically, this really assists us to get the energy into the arms so we can reach out in life for what we need and gather it back to us. And of course, the arms are also the part of the body that we use for hugging each other. So if you hug people more, you will get more energy in your arms and it will help you with your arm balances. So keeps the love spreading around. And more on the physical level, you can think about the meridians like large intestine, lung, heart, pericardium, small intestine meridians. And this will just flow up through your arms and then crisscross that prana through those organs. So let's start with perhaps the most simple of the arm balances is Bakasana, or is crow pose. The best thing to do if you want to come into it more methodically is to come into a squat. Just find yourself coming into balance here. You might want to come up to this position for a little while just to get your breath regulated, get your drishti set, your gaze point set, and just get a sense of balance at this point. So if you find on any given day that coming into this space right now makes you wobbly, then probably best just to hold as we are. Okay, but if you can get centered here, then you can definitely go ahead into the full crow pose. So we'll inhale, bring the length up through the spine. On the exhale, split the knees and take the hands down to a position where the elbows can slightly bend. So if you're fairly new to your crow pose, I'd actually turn the hands in somewhat to expose more of the back of the arm. For those who are working at more the intermediate levels, have it so the middle fingers face forward and actually pull your elbows back in at this point. So for beginners, you'd be looking at getting the knee into the crease of the elbow just here, just above the elbow. Intermediates probably start to get into this crease here around the deltoid. And then for the more advanced students, you'd be working on the knees coming up into the armpits. But it doesn't really matter. Sometimes you bring them up and the knees slide down a little bit. No problem at all. So we really do need that full even breath and our drishti set, our gaze point. If we pour a lot of weight down through the hands, it's going to rebound the prana, the energy back up through the arms. So we've got more strength. And a lot of people say to me in this pose that they feel like they're going to crush down on their wrists. So the more grounding through the hands will assist this. So when you're ready to come in, you want to kind of raise the buttocks up and draw the knees up and into the back of the arms. Pressing down through your hands, and the feet are just coming up one at a time. You might be able to secure the feet up a bit more. Open your heart center, which will lengthen out through your spinal column, and keep breathing here. When you're ready to come down, maybe one foot at a time or both feet, you might want to finish off back in squat with Anjali Mudra, prayer pose, the shoulders stacked over the hips, and just continue to balance for a little while. Okay, so we also have our side crow option. This is for those of you who are finding the crow quite easy to master. You're probably wanting to challenge yourself a little bit more and to go on. So turn to the side of your mat and then bring your hands down. Same sort of position. Draw those elbows in. To start off with, we're going to think about the back hip going into the elbow and then the knee going into the elbow. We're going to take the weight forward. Again, place a lot of grounding down through those hands. You want to really lift up your heart center, lift and open your heart center forward. If you don't do that, you tend to sort of crumble down into your pose. So when you're ready, inhale and then exhale. Start to bring yourself forward. Hopefully you haven't got a dog in your way. And you can bring those feet up together. Okay, nice side crow. Coming down when you're ready. So for anyone who wants to go further, you can start to either straighten both legs out or you can start to split the legs. Okay, so when you're ready, bringing yourself in, Get yourself set up, and then maybe start to split these legs out. Bring it back when you're ready, and then you can turn back, come back into your nice squat pose just to finish off. Just so you're not completely tumbling out of the pose and doing a belly flop, okay? Just to make it a nice centered practice. So, first couple of arm balances. If you're still working on challenging yourself a little bit more, you can start to do some variations. So, let's work on this next pose. You tend to need to have the hips fairly open for this next variation. So, let's draw back on the right knee, and we're going to take the right shoulder down and under the leg. From here, place that hand back down, cross the left foot over, get nice and grounded, start to lift the buttocks, draw the chest forward and extend those legs out to the side as much as you can. Keep breathing. When you're ready, draw it back in and come down. Okay, a little bit more challenging, but if you just set it up step by step, it may come together for you. We've also got some more variations of the arm balances. Tadasana, I tend to like to come into this one from downward facing dog so I can spring my feet forward. You don't have to do that, you can stand up and walk the hands back in. However, I tend to come into it like this. So from Adho Mukha Svanasana, inhale, and you want to look up between those hands. On the exhale, you can step or you can jump the feet out and around. When you're ready, squeeze your knees into the shoulders, sit onto the back of the arms. Maybe to begin with, start to walk the feet around, bring one foot up and then the other and start to cross. So you just hold as long as you want to. If you're fairly new to your practice, at this point I would just bend those elbows a little bit deeper, bring the buttocks down and maybe sit back, breathing through Sukhasana. So once you start challenging yourself a little bit more, you can link some of these poses together. So you might go from this one, Tadasana, back to Bakasana, back to crow. And then for those of you who love the vinyasa flow, think about things like this. Maybe you're going to have yourself in that crow pose and then think about coming back to Chaturanga, through up dog and back to down dog, and so on and so forth. Again, if you want to challenge yourself, maybe you're going to do crow, take it up into a tripod headstand, bring it back to crow, flick the feet back, Chaturanga, go through your vinyasa. So things to think about depending on where you are with your practice at the moment. That's our beautiful arm balancing. Namaste, thanks everyone.